If you wanna stay with me, if you wanna try, maybe you could be with me, but only for the night.
Hey everybody, and welcome back to the Board Game Specialists. I am Melanie.
And I'm Carla.
And today we are doing our top 9 brain burner games. And I was actually just telling Carla, we have very different lists this round. So I kind of took as games that require a lot of thinking, I guess. Like whichever which way is just like afterwards, kind of like, oh, okay. Like it just required a lot of brain power. How did you pick? Because I'm assuming similar.
I did the same. It's the ones where it's almost like your brain kind of hurts after, but in a good way.
Yeah.
You almost need a break and have to play. If you're going to play again after, it needs to be something really light because you're
right.
just like,
you gotta have the cleanser, like the brain cleanser.
Exactly.
That's funny. But actually, hold on. Let me close out stuff because I have stuff in front of my screen. So just want to make sure. Oh, yeah. I'm just setting it up because it looks small on my screen, but I think it's going to be full screen. So before I bring it in, I didn't want to bring up because we were just kind of discussing too what we were going to do for the next episode. So I had like a spreadsheet open and I don't want to share that by accident. But no, that looks good. Perfect. So our top 9 brain burner. Now, before we get into that, of course, we're going to be talking a little bit about some games we've been playing lately. And Carla, we're going to start with you. So what have you been playing lately?
So I played one of the Kickstarters we both received. I know you've played it too. It's
yes.
called Vineyard winemaking game. Now this one is the newest, I believe the newest from Pencil First Games, with the designers being Roberta Taylor, or the designer.
Yes.
And so we love Roberta and we love to try all her games. And of course, when we heard about this one coming out, we were both super giddy and we're like, let's back this one. So we did. And you received it and then you kindly brought it to my house when you were in the city. And I got to play it. I just played a 2-player version of it, but it's a very different game. There's a mechanism in it and they call it, where is it here? Shared worker placement, which is a little different than what I can't think of another game like it, like with that sort of mechanic.
Oh, transmission.
Yes, that is it one. And I do like that game too.
Yeah.
So what they mean by that is there's a certain amount of workers on the board. You don't own, or like none of the workers are yours. And so or you are not them. Like it's just they're there and everybody can move them around and do different things. But the neat thing is you all have these player boards with each of those workers on them. But each of the workers on your player board kind of has a different special ability than the other players' play mats. So, I might have now I'm blanking on some of the names, but like, so let's say I think it was Sophie. She might have on mine some cool abilities that I can upgrade to, where on your player board, yours would be Joe would have those abilities or a mixture of them. So it's kind of neat because, when I go to use Sophie, I might want to use her for a different action than what you would want to use her for. Now, the tricky part is when you choose one of the workers you're going to move around and use their action, you have to move them to that spot. The spot is not always open. So sometimes you have to move other workers to have an open spot and hope when it comes around to your turn that then it's open and you can move the person you want to that spot to do that action. Now there's different actions that you can do. I should have wrote these down, the actions, but there's like
cultivating.
Cultivating, harvesting, aging wine, and then loading it onto the truck.
Yeah.
So different things that you can do, and it doesn't necessarily, like, you're not making your own wine. You're all collectively making this wine. But what you're trying to do is get your hearts in these barrels. And how you do that is, like, each time you cultivate, you're going to put some of your hearts on some of the grapes in the fields. And you can manipulate those grapes before that. Then when you actually harvest them and bring them down to the barrels, you'll also get to put some of your hearts, or possibly more than one, in a barrel. What are they called? The threshing. Do you remember what that they're called? Before you put them before you make wine.
That's when you step on them, right?
Yeah, but is it like the
I have
threshing?
no idea what it's.
Anyway,
Crushing, I don't know.
Crushing bin, maybe that's it. Crushing barrel or something. But so you put them there, and then you would make wine, and so then you would also make the wine and get to put another heart. So you're trying to get as many hearts as you can in the barrel, because it kind of has like an area control to it, where you're trying to get lots of them, not necessarily have to have the most, but that's basically what you're trying to do. And then the neat thing is, once they get into the cellar, then you're going to age them again collectively. And then once they get to the furthest right side cellar, then someone will load them onto the truck. Now, each truck has a different scoring to it. So most times you would like to have as many hearts as you can. Sometimes you just need to be in as many barrels, like presence in as many barrels as possible. But you will get points once the truck is completely loaded. So some trucks only need like 4 or 5 barrels, and then some need 8 barrels. So until those are all loaded on the truck, they won't score. Now, I think it's when 3 complete trucks are filled, that triggers the end of the game, and then I think you finish the round and go from there. Now, there's also ways to get money, and that is greeting. That's another action you can do, and there's usually only one spot for that. In a 3-4 player game, I believe there's 2 spots for that, but that one is, a lot of times, I know we really wanted to do that because it's the only way you can get money. Sometimes you can also get points on there, but you're going to go to that spot, and then there's these train cards on the top, and you're going to pick one of them and do the action, and it'll give you most the time money, and that is the only way you can get money. And then the time you would spend money is, you're going to play this paperwork card, because you have these action cards that you're going to use, and those are you're going to place whichever action you're doing under the worker that you want to move, and then that worker is going to move to that spot, and you're going to do that action. Now, the paperwork you can put under anybody at any time, because typically you have to have used every worker before you can use another worker again. But the paperwork you can use anytime. And then when you do that, it's kind of like in Concordia, there's a card. I think what's the card called? Tribute,
I don't remember what it's called in Concordia, but yeah.
Yeah. And then it lets you pick all your cards back up. And you get money for each card that had been played down there. You got $1 for each card. So that's the only way to get money. That's another way to get money. But now you can spend money. This is the only time you can really spend it. And that's by purchasing more cards, or trading in cards that you have, or upgrading all the workers on your player board. So that's really important, because when you do upgrade those workers, you get better, juicier actions every time you would use that worker in that action. I did a lot of upgrading my workers. I bought quite a few cards too, but I did trade in some cards, so that you can trade in a card if it has the same symbol on it. But you got to be careful you don't trade in a card and not have that action anymore.
Right.
I didn't do that, but I think Irina might have done it once, and then had to end up buying one the next round, because it was like, I can't even do this action because I just traded it in for a different one. But anyway, so make sure you don't do that. But I found it really thinky. It could have actually fit our game, or like for this
brain burners
thing, just because, like, it's very simple to learn, but just trying to figure out what you're going to do, when you're going to do it. Hopefully, if you have a big plan, hopefully it'll all work out. It's not going to, though, because somebody's going to do something else to that and go to the spot you need, and then you're like, oh, I need to refigure out what I'm going to do here. But it was just a really cool game. It was not what I expected at all. I don't know. I think I just probably thought it was like a similar to viticulture, building or making your own wine and selling
I
and
mean,
whatnot.
thematically, definitely.
Thematically,
But yeah.
for sure, but not mechanically at all.
Yeah.
But it was really, really neat, and I'm really excited to play it at like a 3-player count and a 4-player count, just to see how much more people would get in your way of your
Oh, I
plans.
think I mean, there's more space.
Yeah, that's true.
But yeah.
But I think
it would be interesting for sure.
It would, yeah. But it's quite a tactical game. You can't really have a master plan at the beginning because those plans are going to be changed. So you kind of have to just go with the flow and then be like, okay, I'm going to switch it up and I'm going to go and do this now and try to get more hearts on this way, or I'm going to really age that wine because I want those to get on the truck before everybody else gets more hearts onto those barrels, kind of thing. And it was just really a really cool game that it really shocked me. I mean, I love my worker placement games, and I would have been totally happy with it just being like a traditional worker placement. But this one was really interesting and cool, and it's definitely has a place on my shelf because it's so different than all of my other worker placement games, and it's just so cute. The art is lovely, and the production, the organization in the game box is awesome. Like it's just awesome what they're doing now with games, and you don't have to buy what are they called,
like inserts.
Yeah, you don't have to buy inserts anymore, which is so nice because that adds so much to a game that you've already spent a decent amount of money on. So I really appreciate that. But I really do like this game, and yeah, that's the one I'm talking about today is Vineyard.
Yeah, that was such a cool game. I'm glad you liked it too.
Yeah.
So on Sunday, I've been in an accumulating phase. There's a lot of games coming in with FallCon. Now, not all my fault. I had a lot of games sent to me and have a lot of games coming still. And I was like, oh my God, I need to play more. And then it's been a little difficult trying to get, people to play. I'm so secluded. But we did have a game day on Sunday, and this is one of the games that we played, and it is Lord of the Rings, Fate of the Fellowship. This is basically Pandemic. So this is Pandemic with a Lords of the Ring skin on it, right? Now, I am not a big follower of Lord of the Rings, but after playing this one, I was like, okay, maybe we should watch this movies. It was so good. So first of all, components are amazing. There's tons of different characters that you can play with. Now, we were playing 4 players and we were each controlling 2 characters. And I think every time you play, you will control 2 characters. Now, if you're the hobbits, you control 2 of them, but you get like 1 token for them. And then on your turn, you're going to be doing 5 action, 4 for 1 character, 1 for your secondary character. And you're going to decide who's going to do the main characters. There's no, instead of disease spreading, you have the monsters that are going to be crossing around on the land. So you have these little red meeples that are the little monsters, but then there'll be brown and green and gray, blue and gray meeples that goes out there, and those are your kind of your allies, the army persons, right? And you can go in location where they are and bring them along, and you can try to battle these monsters. But it's not just, okay, I'm curing this. You have to roll the dice and hope that you are successful. So it's definitely more adventure feel, right? Quite a bit. And there's 4 cards that we had, and those are your objective of what you need to accomplish to win the game. And then the 4th one is, throw the rings in wherever it needs to go. Really need to watch these movies. But, destroy the ring is the final thing you need to do. And this will change from game to game because you randomly will pull out different tile, and you can play different characters all the time. So each time you play, this game will have a different feel. And then what's interesting is the bad cards. You know how you in pandemic, you would flip over and be like a location and disease go there. With this one, you'll flip it over and you have your draw pile and then the discard, well, the kind of current active pile, and then you'll have the discard pile to the side. So you're going to flip it in the middle. And depending on what the draw pile shows, whether it's going to be like a red background or a black background, you either activate the top portion of the card or the bottom portion of the card. Now, if it's the top portion of the card, there'll be movement. And basically the monsters, it kind of tells you, okay, if they're in this location, or says like from between this location to this location on the orange line, any monsters when like they're kind of like traveling, so you'll start at the beginning. If there's anything there, they're going to move forward, and if it's anything at the other one, they're going to move forward, and they're all going towards like one of the location that you control. And if you ever don't have presence there and the monsters get in there, they take over, and that's bad because you're keeping a track of your hope. And if you ever lose hope all the way and your hope is down to 0, you lose. So you're trying and if they take over some of these territories that are supposed to be sanctuaries, it damages your hope, right? So the whole concept of it was so good. It was so good. Then you have like the evil eye that travels around and it'll follow the hobbit if Frodo is out on the wherever it is, depending on what the cards will say. Then you have these dragons, these bad dragons that'll kind of travel around as well. The whole thing was so impressive. My friend that brought it had extra copies, so I ended up purchasing a copy. I haven't picked it up yet, but I'm purchasing a copy from him because I'm a big Pandemic fan anyways, and this is like Pandemic fantasy adventure, so it's like right up my alley, and I absolutely adored it. And that is Lord of the Rings, Fate of the Fellowship.
Yeah, I've heard this one is good. Someone is teaching this at Car Treat this weekend.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah, so they were pretty happy too. I think it's full now. But
nice.
I think you can play 5 players with this one.
I think so. Yeah, we were playing 4, but yeah, no, it was so good.
Nice.
Perfect. Well, we're going to get started with our top 9 brain burner games. And Carla, of course, we're going to start with you. So which one made it to your number 9?
So the first one I'm going to talk about is one I had recently just acquired and played. And I think I even had mentioned in there how brain burning it was, even though it's a real simple learn. And this one is Skara Brae. Now, this one is a Garfield game. And I think it's, I'm going to check. I'm pretty sure it's designed by Shem Phillips.
Yeah, Shem Phillips. I can see it.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he developed this one, and I had thought it was in his line of solo games at first. It was on Kickstarter, and I thought, well, I don't know, I'm not going to back it, but I'll probably end up buying it when it comes out. And then it came out, and I kind of watched videos and stuff. I'm like, oh, this isn't even in a solo game. You can totally play it solo. It always has a solo mode to it, but it is a multiplayer game. And so what you're doing here is the whole story behind this is it's like a Scottish theme back in kind of ancient Scotland when they used to take their garbage and stuff and they would just put it in a big pile, and then eventually, like hundreds of years later, that pile would disintegrate into, like, I'm assuming like a dirt, and they would just like a compost, and they would actually build tunnels and things in there and kind of live in there in the winter, and that's how they would keep warm. But in the gameplay, what you're doing is you are acquiring all these resources but using them for different things. So like when you acquire things that could be cooked as food, then when you do turn them into food, they will like change into, like, say if there's a deer, when you cook a deer, you're going to get bones out of it, you're going to get food, you're going to get fur, like a pelt. So you need to have more space to put all these resources, because you have little slots for your resources, and every time you get more, you have to slide over this little thing and add more space, which also brings in more garbage. So at the end of the whole round, depending how far your slider is over, you will accumulate more garbage. They call it something different in here, but and those will be negative points at the end. So you're trying to manage these resources in a way where you want to get a whole bunch of them, but by the end of the game, you want to have kind of have it all cleaned up as much as possible. So how you play the game is there's 3 rows of cards in each round, and you're gonna each turn you're going to choose one card, one row of cards, and just take one, and then everyone will take one from there, and then you're going to do your worker placement action or actions depending on how many workers you have, and then you will go back and draft a card, do the same thing. So you're going to get to use your workers each time you draft a card, so it's going to be 3 times each round you'll get to do that. So you get lots and lots of actions, and it's simultaneously either then the drafting of the card, then you will simultaneously just do your worker placement actions because you just do them on your own board. Now, there's different things you can do. Like I already said, you can cook, which you need to cook because you need to feed your people at the end of the round. And your people are most likely the cards that you're drafting. They will be placed under your board under different gathering areas. And so if you just completely gather people, you're going to have a lot of food to feed them. If you don't have enough to feed them at the end, you have to get rid of some of the people, the cards that are there. But there's other actions you can do. You can do a cleanup where you're going to clean some of the garbage and possibly slide that little slider over to give you less negative points, but also will give you less space for more resources. You can choose a crafting action, which lets you upgrade your actions. And so you'll get to flip the tile over, and then you have a little bit better action next time. So you have to kind of weigh out, am I going to upgrade lots? Am I going to furnish is another thing, which gives you a higher multiplier for points for every worker or worker card that you have. There's just a lot of things that you need to kind of plan out because you can't just wing it and go, I'm going to do this round, this. You really have to plan and think like, what am I going to try to accomplish here? You can't do every action all the time. So am I going to go hard on crafting and upgrading my cards so that they give me better points at the end and better actions, or am I going to try to just get a whole bunch of animals and turn them into food, and then I can feed all these people, and then I have all these bones and pelts and things that I can use to furnish. There's just so many different ways to play this game, and I feel like there'd be so many to victory. I'm teaching this game at Cartreat on Saturday. I'm not going to play it because I want to watch everybody and just see how the different routes everybody goes down. But when I was learning this game, I played it two-handed because I didn't try the solo mode yet, but just to see, I'm going to do something completely different with each hand. And then I played it with my husband and my son, and I did something completely different. And then I played it with my friend Irina, and I did something completely different again. But each time it really hurt my brain because it's like, okay, I really need to just focus on a couple things. What am I going to do? I got to try to make sure I can get that card. There's another thing, the turn order is neat because you just have these discs in a pile, and every time whoever's on top gets to choose a card. If you choose to not choose a card, you can pass and your disc goes above everyone's. And then if everyone's gone, then at the end you're going to choose an action and you go on top, so you're going to be first next time. So it can be beneficial to pass. You won't get first selection of the card that round, but then next round you'll get first selection. You still always take a card that round, but it might be more important in the next row. I really need that card, so I'm gonna forego my turn order this turn in order to get that card for sure next turn. And it's really neat because there's also cards you can get that will make it that you have to pay less food for people, or you do collect less garbage, which is important too. But then if you collect too many of those cards, you're not getting enough worker cards. And it's just so brain burning to me because you could just do so many different things, and just managing those resources as well is another little puzzle in the game. So there's all these different puzzles you're kind of trying to figure out and work out in the game to try to do the best you can. But I just found it really, really puzzly and fun. And yeah, that's my number 9, Skara Brae.
Nice. Yeah, that one does look really cool. And the artwork is beautiful.
Oh yeah.
Wonderful. All right, my number 9 is quite a bit smaller than yours. Like
Yeah.
quite a bit. But it's one of those that it is so hard. Like it's so puzzly. And that is Square Meal. This
Oh
was a
yes,
small
I
Kickstarter
agree.
that I
This
had
one
back
is.
years ago. And you have 3 ingredient cards. And these cards like are 3 by 3 and they'll have like and everything is square on there. It's kind of cute. And you have these 3 ingredient cards and then you'll have a card and it has like a pattern. And you can rotate, flip, you can overlap. And you got to try to figure out how to place those 3 ingredient cards so that you can duplicate the pattern that is provided. And if you're successful, that's great. You add it to your pile, it's going to give you points. If you pass, that's negative points. And this game was tough. Like it looks cutesy, it looks
does.
straightforward, and it's a lie. It's a lie. Like this one is like, oh my God, like how do you make that pattern? And it was one of those that it's I don't know. And I don't know if it's because because you got to create the pattern somewhere in everything that's there. So it's kind of being able to spot it, trying to be able to kind of say, well, if I overlap this, oh, but that covers the cheese here. Okay, well, if I shift it, maybe I'll put it behind. And is it where else can I find the avocado I need? Like, it's like, it is such, I don't know. Like it is super simple, straightforward game. It is easy to explain and understand. But just because I understand doesn't mean my brain can compute. So, and I thought, I was like, okay, this one, when I started putting the list together, I was like, oh my God, I have to put this one on there. Like that has to make my list because this one just fits the brain burner description so well. And that is my number 9, Square Meal.
Yes, this one I totally agree. I have this game and bought it thinking, oh, it's just like something I could play watching TV and just kind of goof around with. No, you cannot do that. This game I have put in the corner a few times because I was mad and I'm like, there's something wrong with this game. And then I just felt really stupid that night. So I'm like, maybe I'm just like out to lunch. And then I brought it back out and same thing. I'm like, how can I not do this? It's so hard. And then I almost sold it, but then I decided to keep it thinking, okay, I'm going to get this. And I did play it again and I did get better at it, but it is a really hard game. I don't know. It's funny how we both thought, oh, it's just going to be this little cute fruit, tile game. You just overlap cards. No, it's got some evil in it.
I agree. Oh my God.
Yeah, no, good choice. All right, my second one is a card. I guess it's kind of an action drafting game. Kind of. You have a hand of cards, and we all start with the same hand, or the same deck. It's like a mini, so it's kind of a deck building action drafting game. And you'll grab.
So Carla, what's the game?
Oh, it's called Lacrimosa. So it's you have this deck of cards, like I said, and everybody's going to shuffle them and you grab 4, I believe. And so those are your choice of actions that you can use that round. Now, you're going to place them in these slots. So you have to choose when you're doing that action, like it's first, second, third, fourth. So it's very planny. You need to plan this out. And then you will do the action on the top of the card, and it could be whether you're buying cards, you're moving around Mozart's. I don't know, it's not actually Mozart because you're actually finishing his requiem kind of thing. So you're moving, can't remember who the person is you're moving around on the map there, but you may be moving around this person to do actions there that are on the map. you may be finishing the songs on the bottom there, the Requiem, by placing these little notes that you have. And you have to do that with another action card. There's always kind of a secondary action on there as well that is optional that you can do. And then on the bottom, you can slide them on the bottom, and those will give you resources. So you're trying to balance what I'm putting on the top, what I'm putting on the bottom, which resources I want and which I do not want at the time, but I want the action card. You have to be careful when you buy cards again that you don't, because when you buy a card, you kind of have to give one up, and you have to make sure, again, the same thing as that last game I talked about, or the one at the beginning, that you don't give up an action and buy a different action, and then you have no access to do that action again. Because that can happen. It's very tricky, but it's so planny that when you're, figuring out what you're going to do, that then you have to, if at the time you get to your action, say number 2, 3, and you're like, I don't know how I'm going to do that now. I'd planned for that, but now I can't. So there can be a lot of frustration, especially the first time you play this game. But after you've played it once, you kind of get the picture and get the idea of how it works. And then you play it again and you do better. And it's one of those games that every time you play, you probably do a little bit better because you have learned from the past of that game. But I know after I played this, I played it once years ago, and it was one of those games that, all of a sudden one night I'm like, oh, that game, I need to play that again. And so it's actually, I don't even own this game. Cherry owns this game. So I'm like, can I borrow this game? I need to try it solo and do all these things and play around with it, and learned a bunch of things. And then I played it a couple more times, and it just, every time I played it, it was like, oh, I just can't get enough of this game, but it really hurts my brain, but I loved it. And it's just a beautiful production as well.
Mm-hmm.
And just a really neat, different game. I don't even know that I could describe something completely similar to it.
Right.
But it's have you played this, Mel?
I have not.
Oh yeah.
I
No,
love the
like
little notes token, and it looks good.
It is. It's really neat. But yeah, that's my number 8, Lacrimosa.
Wonderful. All right, my number 8 is bigger than my last one, and that is Anno 1800. And I've put this one in there. Like, honestly, this game is not super complicated. It's not like a super hard game to learn and play. But where this becomes a brain burner is because there's so many options. There's so many things you got to be like, okay. Because this is I want to say like engine building game, right? Like you start where you have the ability to generate certain goods. And then some will require some of the goods that you generated in order to be able to make the next good. So it's like, okay, well, I'm going to go make this so that I can apply it here so that I can make this other thing. And where like you also get to be like, okay, well, I'm not making this, but Carla is, so I'm going to pay Carla so that I can buy this from her and make this over here so that I can come here and make that. And now you kind of have a goal of what you're trying to do. Is like, okay, I want to be able, but I need to be able to do this. Where is that? Who's making that? Like, and just having to kind of remember the menu, I guess, basically, and where the menu is available. And not only that, but you can upgrade them and then kind of assigning which worker is going to be able to generate that good. And it's like, okay, so like, and there's just a lot to juggle, I guess is what I would say, right? Like kind of maximize, okay, which worker is going to be doing what and which one should be upgraded to the next level worker, because then there's kind of more abundant at some point. And then some of the goods you can't generate at all. You need to go, and it's like you need to send your ships that'll go out and get those. And so there's just such a wide variety of resources that you need to keep track of, that I thought that aspect of this game is what makes this game a brain burner, just keeping everything straight. But this is one that has made your list again and again and again and again. And you're like, oh, you'll love it. You'll love it. And I was like, well, maybe, like it looks all right. And then I finally played it earlier this year. And I was like, oh my God, that's what she was talking about. And was it, this is not the one that was given to me, but this is still one that I'm going to want to have now, because it was.
I thought you did buy it.
Did I buy this one? Because I know.
I think you did. I think so.
Let me, I keep track. Let me go check. Because I was like, oh, and then somebody gave it to me. But no, that was Grand Austria Hotel. So I'm wondering.
Gem.
Which is, equally good, right? But so I don't know. Do I own this one? Because I think so. It'd be good. I'd be pleased. Yeah. I do not own this one yet. No. So, this one is still on my wish list. But yes, definitely, there's so many different aspects to keep in mind while you're playing this game. Didn't help that we decided to play this game at, like, we started it was nearly midnight.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And then it's like, oh, do you guys want to play this one? And I was like, I was just saying I'm going to bed. And I'm like, oh, but I really want to play this one. So we did. And it was one of those where by the end, like, oh my God, can I stay awake for it? So that probably made it even harder to kind of keep everything straight. But it was such a great, great game, but definitely lots of stuff to keep an eye on and to kind of sort as you're playing. And that is my number 8, Anno 1800.
And it just goes to show, like, almost all these games we've listed so far, they're not complicated, heavy rule games. They're just, they basically made them with fairly simple rules, but a lot of crunchy decisions, which I really love. Yeah. Awesome. All right. My number 7 is Amalfi. Renaissance is the title. Yes, you got the right one there.
Perfect.
I guess it's the basic one, but they remade it and they just called it Renaissance afterwards. I believe it's the same game, but it's just the second kind of version of it. Same cover though, but the beautiful cover drew me in, and then I ended up watching videos on it. I'm like, I think I really will like this game, so I bought it, and I learned it. It was before the last car treat, and I hadn't put it in my list of teaching, and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna sneak this one in somehow, because I had taught another game that wasn't quite long, and I'm like, maybe we'll have time and we'll play this. So I taught the group that played the first game this one as well, because it's not a super long game, but it's sure crunchy. This one, what you are doing is you have this player board with these ships in the middle. And you start out with, I think it's 4 or 5 ships. And most of the actions you're going to do, you need to use a ship to do that. So there's a big game board. It's a map of different regions and things. But most of the time, you're going to take one of your ships and place it on that map. And that'll let you do something, and most times it'll let you take 1 or 2 of your other ships and slide them up into these ports on your player board, and the port that you choose is the type of good that you're basically producing with those boats. So I may move them up to the wine, and if I move 2 boats up, I'll have 2 boats worth of wine, which I believe is they're 3 each, so it gives me like 6 value of wine. And then on the next turn, I may use that wine to purchase some art on the top, or I may use that wine to purchase another ship tile that it will be mine personally to use. I may use that wine to hire do they call them? Not nobles, something like that, but to hire a noble, which will let me place a card in front of me, use its ability, possibly right away, or it could be an ongoing ability, or whatnot. But then once I've used those that wine, it just slides back down to my base there, and I can still use those actions. When I place the boats on the map, though, they're gone for the round. So you're trying to balance how much, I put on the map to get the resources, but then when they come back down, I can use them again. Then I might put another one on the map to get more resources. But now I've only got 2 boats left. So if I put another one on the map, I'm only going to get 1 boat worth of resources. Another thing that you can do is hire more boats. But that will take other boats to do. So you really have to balance your resources and your ships. And that is so thinky and tricky that sometimes you make decisions and you're like, I don't have any more actions. So I've got to wait till next round because I've built 2 ships, but they're kind of put off into a port that you can't use them until next round. So there's just so much going on. Plus you have these like objectives you're trying to race to. You have these other round objectives that you're trying to accomplish. You can't do it all, but you have to figure out which one I'm working towards. And then there's just so many different things that you can do out of I think it's 5 actions you have. So it's really not a whole lot of actions, but there's so many different ways you can do things. The production of this is awesome as well. It's like a very colorful, like art deco kind of feel to it. And it just has very, they're wooden components, but kind of simplistic as well. So it just feels so fresh and clean to me when I see it on the table, which really helps when I, am playing a thinky game to have everything just look, I don't know what the word is, just fresh, feeling fresh and clean and simplistic to me. That just makes things so much easier to kind of work around in my brain. But so I taught everybody at Car Treat and they really, really liked it. This one you can play on BGA. I would advise you to play it on the table. I mean, maybe it's just me. This would be impossible for me to learn on BGA, but once I kind of played it a few times on the table, I'm like, oh yeah, I can do this. I can play this on there. I have done it, but I do prefer this one on the table because it's nice to be able to look at everything, see what's out there, what other people are doing, what they have. There's a possibility you might be able to put a boat onto one of their private boat docks. So you kind of want to see everything out there. And it's just, I don't know, it's just one of those games that is not too long. It can be played in an hour, possibly even less if everybody knew the game. But it's just a really cool, thinky, brain-burning game. And that's my number 7, Amalfi Renaissance.
Nice. It is a beautiful box. I could see why that would draw you in just by the box cover. Mm-hmm. All right. My number 7 is Heaven and Ale. And the reason I picked this one is this one has a lot of different aspect and nuance to this. So this would not be something that I would say, oh, it's such a simple, easy game. No, like there's some enough going with it that'll kind of keep you on your toes a little bit. But there's a lot of decision that needs to be made in this game. Because first you got, like, it's the rondel. The main board technically is kind of a rondel. You go around. So you go and select the token or action you want to do. And you can go as far ahead as you want, but you can't go backwards. So you're kind of have to skip. So already it's kind of like, okay, you're going to get FOMO here. Like, do I skip the grain and do I skip the rice and do I skip this to go and get this? But I'm giving this up, or do I like nitpick and kind of pick up everything as I go? But then the other players might skip ahead and go for what I really wanted, so there's already kind of that aspect where you're already making these hard decisions to begin with. Then once you pick up some tiles, you're going to need to decide where you're going to put it on your board. And this matters because on the one side, it's going to provide eventually income for when you activate the tiles on your board. And you're going to activate the tiles on your board based on once one of the location is surrounded by tiles. So once you get one location all surrounded by tiles, it activates. But it activates depending on the total value of all the surrounding tiles. So the lower the value, you activate like just a couple, like one or two a couple. But if you have a really high value, then you get to activate a lot more of the different tiles that's surrounding it. So then already you're kind of, okay, well, which one do I activate? It's like, and you want to do a balance of having both kind of lower scoring, I think they're village, and then higher scoring village, because you can activate them differently. And then that's on the one side, or you can decide of placing these tokens on the lighter side, which is what's going to kind of move up your production of that particular tile. And then you get to move on your player board, like that resource up on the board. And they're not all starting at the same level. And then be like, okay, well, and sometimes you could be like, okay, well, I'm going to concentrate on this one and just do a lot of that one. And in this game, you cannot do that, because you're going to score your smallest resource multiplied by the location of your monk, I think it is. So you need to make sure that you move everything up so that your lowest resource is not so low, so that you can take better advantage of the multiplier. And then once you kind of made all those decisions, and then you've gone around, and then you get to the end, then if you're like the first one there, well, now you've got to decide, okay, what do I want? Like, I'm first one here, so do I want to be first player next round? Or do I want to get some money? Or do I want to, like, so there's kind of, and that's going to change whether you get going to be first player, second player, third player, or fourth player. And then you got to decide that. It's like, there's definitely a benefit of being first player and going to get to pick first what action or what tile you want to collect. But maybe I'm running really low on cash and I need to do that. And then you have these objectives you're trying to activate. And there's just a lot of different little decisions to make and consider in this game. And it's a brilliant game. I absolutely love this one. But there's just, it's not one be like, oh yeah, do you got 5 minutes? I'll teach it to you real quick. You can't really do that if you've never played this one. But this one just has a lot of different little things going that you need to kind of be aware and keep in mind as you play. But it's great. And that is my number 7, Heaven and Ale.
Yeah, this one is a good one. I think I've only played it a couple times a long time ago, but I definitely like to play it again with someone who knows the rules that I don't have to learn them. Because there's some it's a tricky scoring in this, right?
Yeah.
Like the scoring is very
Yeah.
But it's a really cool game. All right, my number 6 is Darwin's Journey. Now this is a game with the Italian designers, and people had thought it was kind of a sequel to Newton. So Newton was a game that was made probably at least 5 years ago, 5-6 years ago. The production of it was terrible. It was,
oh no,
the cards were terrible. The even the cardboard wasn't the greatest. But it was a good game. It just didn't take off, and I don't know if I can't say that it was just from the production, but it was a really good game. So anyway, a couple years later, they put this Darwin's Journey on Kickstarter, and it seemed like, it doesn't have the same exact theme, but it seemed like a very upgraded version of that, only in a different theme. And I was all over it, because I was like, oh, I did like that game, but this one is just so much. It's so beautiful, and just the mechanics in it and stuff made more sense to me. So this one is the theme behind it is you are kind of Darwin, and you're trying to, you're not him, but it's about Darwin's journey, traveling, exploring, discovering things, basically taking them to museums and placing these different finds that you find out on your adventure. Traveling by foot, traveling by boat. You have to gather all these seals for your workers, so it's kind of like their skills, and you're developing all these workers that you have with different types of seals, giving them skills to go to different actions and possibly upgraded actions because they have more seals on them. And I'm talking about wax seals, not the animal seal. Anyway, so
I didn't see it that way, but I guess,
just in case. If you're listening and driving and going, what does she mean that they have these seals? You're also like delivering letters and doing different things that thematically maybe, but when you see it on the board, it does totally make sense. Now, the different actions you can do is so many different ones, but the neat thing is that you have these different books on the player game board, and depending on player count, they have dividers in them, and like each book will have so many actions on each page. And if you go to one, if somebody else wants to go there, they're going to have to pay because you're already there. So again, you're not going to be able to have this master plan. I'm going to go here, then here, then here, then here, because you might not even have enough money to do it. So if I plan to go to these different spots and then round two, I can't go there because I have no money. I have to, have a backup plan. So you really need to give yourself multiple options each time you go and be able to do them. There is always, the actions where you can go for free and just get $2 and a objective tile, or you can change turn order. So there's things you could still do, but you of course want to make everything as efficient as you possibly can. And it is a very combo-tastic game, which you all know I love. And so it's such a satisfying game where you'll do some of your actions which will just, bounce off different things that you're going to be able to do more of. I might go here, which is going to let me explore on land. I'm going to go explore on land. Oh, I've just discovered that, which is going to let me do this. Oh, I'm going to put a tent down. Now I get to do this. And oh, I've emptied all my tents on my board. Now I get a bonus action there. So there's so many things that you can do. And sometimes you'll be playing and going, oh, I really need that. How am I going to get it? Wait, oh, here's a way. There's so many different ways to get things. And, you can always seem to find some way to do something, is what I found. Like there's multiple ways to a different point that you need to reach. And, it sometimes seems blocked, but then all of a sudden you're like, oh, but if I go here and that lets me do this, and then I can do this over here, then I can accomplish it. I love that kind of thing in games where there's, you just have to figure out the puzzle to get to the end game of what you want to do, even just in a turn. And this one is totally that. It's another one that's on BGA that, again, I would definitely want to play this on the table first, and then, once or twice, and then maybe you could hit it up on BGA. But it's just a really, really cool mechanical game. And I haven't even touched the surface of it came with expansions. I got the collector's edition, and the whole second side of the board has this expansion that involves time. And everybody says, once you play that version, you're never going back to the other one. But I love the other one so much that I'm almost scared to love the new version. But it just makes me happy to think that there's even a better game than what I've been playing this whole time. It's an awesome one. I don't know if you've played this one, Mel.
I have not.
Oh yeah, you would like this one too. It's really cool. But yeah, that's my number 6, Darwin's Journey.
Wonderful. My number 6 is another small game. This one is very simple. And in fact, it's kind of a spin-off off of just a common Walmart game, I would call. And that game is Trapwords. And Trapwords plays very much like Taboo, which already kind of makes it a little puzzly, right? Because you're going to try to explain a word to your teammates avoiding words to make sure that, so you're trying to come up with different words and different ways of explaining yourself to try to get your teammate to guess your word. Now you can play like with fantasy style, like, or just regular words. So fantasy mode will have like more fantastical words, and or it could just be like regular everyday words, like you decide which way you want to play. But where this gets tricky is you don't know what the taboo words are.
Oh, yeah.
The other team selects those for you. So you're going to complicate things for yourself. Let's say it's ice cream is the word you're trying to get the other player to guess. And, maybe you would say, like, without saying ice cream, maybe you say frozen milk. So, oh, wait, they probably selected milk as one of the taboo word. So maybe you're going to be like frozen liquid of the cow. And like, and you're like going is like, and milk was never on the list anyways, right? Like you gotta make sure that you try to get, like, take precaution in case it's like they probably selected that word. I'm going to try to come up with it's like, but then frozen might be on there as like, very not hot liquid of the cow. It's like, what are you saying? But just trying to come up with the way of saying these words, and then, or like explaining what this secret word may be, and trying to avoid these secret taboo words. Like you're gonna complicate how you're gonna explain this, right? But, and then it has kind of a dungeon crawl aspect. It's not a dungeon crawl, it's one line. But you start at the beginning level, and they have like so many words that they'll list. Because they'll be like, kind of talk as like, because they'll look at your words. Oh, is this word? Okay, what do you want to put on there? It's like, okay. And then they'll write a few words depending on the level you're at. But as you go up, then it's 5 words they're going to add in that list. And then there'll be 6 words you got to add in the list, and 7 words. And the first one to make it all the way through and successfully guess, all the way through, then is going to be the winner. Now, I've played this with you, and I think it was me and Cherry against you and Ashley, and we slaughtered you guys.
Oh, yeah. We kept saying the words all the time. Every, like, probably the first or second word we said. I was like, what?
But it's just such a tricky...
Yeah.
It's completely satisfying, and I absolutely love playing this game. It's fun, but it just adds that extra level to, like, okay, what word would they possibly have picked, and how can I try to describe this by avoiding this, and coming up with really weird ways of trying to, and then to be on the receiving end, be like, I have no idea what you're trying to say. So there's that aspect as well. But it just works well. And that is my number 6, Trapwords.
Yeah, this one's a different type of brain burny. It's like you're on the spot, and you need to think of that right now.
Yeah.
This is that one's a tough one for me too. When it's on the spot, thinking fast, and it's like the word won't come to my tongue. It's here somewhere, floating around, but it won't come out.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right, my number 5 is a game that is similar to Lacerda games. Now, I didn't put any Lacerda games on here only because I could have literally listed all the Lacerda games. They all burnt in my brain big time. But this one is Rococo. This is like there's a deck building mechanic in this, and it's funny because how I was going to describe this is something you've already said, where it's like you have FOMO. So what you do in this game is you're going to choose from your whole hand of cards, 4 cards to play, I think, 3 or 4. But it's not just a shuffle and I grab 3. You get to choose. So you have to think, what do I want to use this round? What am I going to save for next round? And I'm always got FOMO thinking, as soon as I choose those cards and start, oh, I should have really chose that other card. Always there's FOMO in those deck building games when you have a choice of which one you're going to use. But what you're doing in this game is you are building dresses and frocks, and you are selling them or renting them out to nobles and ladies, and you will be placing them in these ballrooms with like displaying these dresses, which is kind of an area control thing right on the main game board, because you have these different halls that they can all go in, and you're trying to control each hall if possible. You're not going to ever control all of them, but by having the most presence in them, you are trying to purchase these statues and what is the other thing called? Statues. Oh, I can't remember, but there's different things you're trying to purchase that are also in those hall rooms, ballrooms, I should say, and that will help with your presence in those places.
Like your
You,
status.
yeah, it'll help. Well, no presence, so it's like area control kind of thing.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
yeah.
And then if you can get into this main hall at the top, at the end of the game, if you purchase some fireworks at the top, you get to move these dresses up to the top, and then they will have a higher multiplier for points, because every dress is going to have a certain amount of points on them once they're flipped over. And if you get to move those high point ones up to the fireworks, it's going to be bigger points for you. With the expansion, which I really recommend playing this with, and I believe if you have this version of the game, there is an older version. It does come with it, so you will automatically have it. But it adds a lot to the game too, because you can use those as income every round. And money is quite tight in this game. So any way that you can get money is a good thing, because each card that you play has an action on it and then a sub action that you can play. You have three types of workers. You have master workers, you have apprentice, and you have journeyman. And each of those types of workers can do different things. The master, I believe, can do everything, but you are limited to, I think, one or two masters in your first starting deck. So you want to make sure that you at least have one every round, because that's the only way you can hire more people, which is more cards and which gives you more actions. So if you have no masters in one round, you're not hiring anybody. That gives you one less action, and it can just be tricky. There's different ways to build the dresses. You can only use journeymen and masters. You cannot use apprentices for that. You can go by thread and lace and things like that. With, I think anybody can do that, any of your workers. You can purchase different spots in the middle of the board, which are like kind of a statue, but it'll give you a multiplier for income every round. One will give you a multiplier for points at the end of the game. Just the whole fact of doing all these things, everybody is blocking you all the time. So again, it's not something you can have this big master plan and go around and do. You really have to be tactical and react to what has already happened on the board and what's going on, what's available. The dress that you had planned on making, because you have that material and you have all the thread and lace, could very well be gone by the time you have gathered all the materials. So you have to be able to try and make a few different dresses at a time, because if you just like zone in on one, it's most likely going to be gone. This game is so interesting because the theme doesn't feel like it would attract everyone, but so many people play this game and they're like, I can't believe I love this game. Like, I would have never thought that I would be into this dressmaking, area control game, but it is just awesome. I played the first version of this game way back at, I think it might have been a Gobfest, and this game was so hard to find because it was out of print. So it was very, we were very lucky to be able to play it. Well, then a couple months later, they announced they were remaking this game in a big fancy deluxe version, and I was so thrilled. And it was a pre-order; it wasn't even a Kickstarter, and so I pre-ordered it. And oh man, I've loved this game ever since. Everybody I teach this game to loves it, but it's awesome. And that's my number 5, Rococo.
Nice. Good pick. I've never played this one either. So
What?
far, like a lot
You
of your
haven't played any
games,
of my games. that I've
I
listed.
know. Well, I don't often play very heavy games just
Yes.
because most of the players that I have aren't in my area aren't like heavy player games.
Mhm.
So I don't go out of my way of playing those. But my number 5 is also not a heavy game. It's almost a party game, and that is Visitors in Blackwood Grove. And what happens in this game is one person is the alien and they crash landed into the woods somewhere. And this little kid on a pedal bike kind of happened to go and get there first, and kind of the alien kind of built trust with this kid. So he kind of has trust with them. And then the rest of us, and we're all the different government program trying to get access to this alien so we can capture it and study it or whatever. But the alien has a force field around their crash site, and they're not letting information, like they're not letting anybody just in. But he's giving hints to the little kid because he kind of trusts the little kid. So the alien and the little kid are working together, and the rest of us is trying to get in and capture. Now, in order to make it through the force field, we need to know what the rule is. Certain things will go in, some things won't. So we're going to have these bunch of cars that have all sorts of items in there, and we're going to try to toss it through the force field and see if it makes it through. So, maybe we put a pineapple and the pineapple bounced off. It didn't work. So the pineapple didn't go in. Like, okay, so not a pineapple. And then one person has a marble and it tossed a marble and it goes in. Okay, the marble went in. Okay, so maybe it's like something round. So next person has a ball of yarn and they kind of tossed a ball of yarn in and that doesn't go in. All right. So maybe it's not something round. So what does the marble have that the ball of yarn didn't and the pineapple didn't? And then the next person's going to toss something else and you're trying to figure out what the heck is the clue, like what makes it in, what doesn't make. And then all of a sudden a fork makes it in. You're like, what is similar between a marble and a fork? It's like, what do you mean? And it's so, like, honestly, the first time I played this, I was like, no idea why some of the stuff made it and why some of the stuff didn't make it. And you're looking as like, there's no rhyme or reason here, right? But it could be anything what the rule is, right? And it could have been as like, it's shiny. Oh, that's why the yarn and the pineapple didn't go in. Those aren't shiny, So, but like, so you got to try to figure out what the common thing is. But and I struggle with those kind of things because I was like, what? Why would this one not go in? So, okay, well, how about this? All right, let's try that. That should go. No, that didn't go in. Well, then, so it definitely is like an interesting way of thinking. Now I've played like Things and Rings kind of has a similar aspect to that, and like bunch of stuff like that. So, but this one is the one that I picked anyways. But that's my number 5, Visitor in Blackwood Grove.
Yeah, that was the game I thought of, was Things and Rings. That this is I think you should start with this one before you play Things and Rings.
Yes.
And then move up to that one. Yeah, that looks cool. I haven't played this one. I would like to try it. All right, that was your number 5.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. My number 4 is Teotihuacan. This one, just by looking at it, I think just the look of the whole game board and it's set up, it just looks brain burny. And so that's all I need to say. No, I'm just kidding. It is very brain burning.
It does, though. It's like, whoa.
If you look at this game, you're like, what is going on there? It's funny. I sent this to my friend who was, she's like, during COVID, she's like, I like board games. And so I was slowly introducing her to some. And I think I gave her to play like Ticket to Ride or something. And then I sent a picture of this. I said, and then eventually we'll be playing this one. And she's like, oh my God, what is that? But anyway, so what you're doing in this is it's like a Mesoamerica kind of theme to it, like Mesopotamia. But you're moving your dice around. So you have your colored dice that are on the surrounding action tiles on the board, and you will move them around, and they can only go, I think, up to 3 spots. But where you land on, you can either do there's 2 different actions you can do. You can do the main action, or what is it called? It's called the, I forget. It's another little type of action you can do, but it locks your dice there. If you do the main action, depending who's there, if there's like 3 different colored dice there, you have to pay cocoa to go there. So that's the like currency in the game is cocoa. So you'd pay that. You could do the main action, and you do it at the strength of the pips that are on your dice. So if I put a 4 there, I look at the main action on that board, and whatever a 4 value dice will give you, that's what I will gain from it. If I had another dice there, there's a section that shows 2 dice and what that value will give you. And it's things like collecting resources, learning technology, building the pyramid, building decorations, building houses, and all different kinds of things that you can do. Another thing is if you run out of cocoa, which is the currency, you can choose to just move somewhere, and however many different colors are there, you're going to just gain that. So at some point in the game, you're going to have to do that in order to get more currency to enable to move around the board. Now, there's a neat thing about once your dice gets to a 6, it what's the word? Anyway, it raises up, like basically dies, and then comes back down to a 1, and it's placed on the main the start tile of the board. But then you get this little bonus out of it, and it's kind of neat because it's nice when they're high value because you can get more things, better actions. But at the end of the round, you pay more for the higher pip workers, your dice. So if I had a whole bunch of 6s out there, I'm going to be paying a ton of cocoa. But if I have them back down to 1s by the end of the round, then they're cheaper to feed, basically. So that's where the thinkiness comes in, is, what am I going to do? How much do I want to pip up my dice, especially right near the end of the round? Ascend. That's the word, ascend. Your dice ascends when it's a 6, and then it comes back down to a 1. Anyway, but all these different actions you're also moving up tracks. That's another thing. You're moving up these 3 temples in the middle of the board, and those are going to be give you different types of bonuses, whether it's points, food, or resources. And moving up to the top is going to give you some big points. So you would love to move up all those temples, but it's impossible. There's another track, I think it's called like something about the wall of the dead or something. You're trying to move up that one, and that's going to give you all these little different tiles as you move up, and give you multiplier points for every house that you build. So there's all these different things you can do. You could just go hard on building the pyramid. You could go hard on technology, and then have all these little in-game bonuses throughout the game. And just, again, so many different things you can do. Such a crunchy game, but just beautiful as well, and very, very brain burny. And that's my number 4, Teotihuacan.
I have not played this one either.
Oh my gosh.
I know. I'm like a sheltered little girl.
Yeah.
My number 4. Okay, so when we said, okay, let's do brain burning games, this was the first game that came to mind. I was like, okay, well, this one for sure is going on my list. And that is Ricochet Robots. Actually, Rio Grande Game just sent me a copy of Ricochet Robot. I already own it, so I ended up giving it away as a prize. But this is such a great game. But the first time I played it, you're staring at the board, and I'm like, what? And it's almost like you need to kind of slowly train your brain and reset your way to think so that you can start thinking in this abstract puzzle that it is. And then when you play it again, you have to do that process all over again. Like it seems like, okay, hold on, I'm not thinking that way yet. Let me get there. But on this board and then on this game, so you have 4 boards. Now it's possible there's more boards than that, and these boards are double-sided, and you're going to pick 4 of them and you're going to put them together, and that's going to create the board. Now, these are like, there's grids, like it's all grids, but there'll be little walls and tokens, kind of symbols on this board, and they'll randomly put these robots in any different location, and they're going to be there. And then you're going to have all these little tokens. That's your goal, where you want to go. And you're going to flip one over, and let's say it's the green token. And then you got to get the green robot onto that icon on the board. Now, where it gets tricky is these robots will move in a straight line. And when they start, they don't stop until they hit something, a wall, the edge of the board, or another robot. So once they hit something, they stop there. Then you can redirect them, and then they'll go again in a straight line until they hit something. And you're trying to have them move in ricocheting off these different things until they land on the icon that is the goal. And so this is going to be a quiet game, because be like, okay, we're flipping this. We want to get the green robot over here. And then everybody stares at the board and try to figure out, where can you go? It's like, I could go there and I could go here. Then I could move this other robot here, so then I could bounce that robot there. And then it could go here, and then it could go up that way, and then around this way, and then it would hit there, and then I could get it onto the, okay, how many move was that? 1, 2, 3, and then 4 for that other robot, 5, 6, like, and they'd be like, okay, I can do it in 12 move. And then you flip the timer, and then everybody else has that amount of time to try to come up with a better way, a faster way of getting that robot there. And then if nobody else does it, okay, 12 move. How are you doing it? So, okay, well, I'm moving this robot here. Then I'm moving it down here. And then I'm going to move the blue robot there, and I'm going to bounce that robot off the blue robot here. And then it's like, and this is all like, you got to visualize this in your mind somehow. And I remember playing this one, and I'm like, okay, 52 moves. Like, it was like I'm trying to remember how I bounced around to get it there, and it was 52 moves. It was ridiculous. But it is so good. It is so satisfying. I absolutely adore this game. Me and Patrick love it. Lee doesn't even want to look at it, right? It's one of those that be like, how the heck did you come up with that? Like, it's very thinky. It is very thinky. But they do it so well, and it's so good. And absolutely love it. And that is Ricochet Robot.
I never played this one.
Oh, you have to. Yeah. It's so good.
Yeah, it looks cool. All right, my number 3 is Ostia. Now this one, when you look at the game board, it's just a very simple map. Boats are just moving in one direction. You can only have one boat on each path, so it seems very simple. Well, the crunchy part comes onto your player board. You all have these rondelles that you're going to choose your action with. So what you do is you're going to move one of your boats around the rondelle, and where it lands, that's how you're going to pick up the resources in there, right? Resources? No, little boats. now I'm blanking. It's boats that are in the section. That's right. Because it's like a pie, a circular pie, and each section is an action. And however many boats are in there, you're going to move them around and drop them like Mandela. Like, is it Mandela, the game? Mancala. Yes.
Yeah.
Mancala. So you're going to drop them off, and then wherever the last one lands, that's the action you're going to do. And the action will depend on how many resources you have there. So you really, really, really have to plan this one out. And most of the game, people are just looking down at their board thinking, what am I going to do next? While everybody else is doing their turn. This is one where you're really not paying attention to what the other people are doing, other than what's on the game board mat, or the game board, because you might try to get ahead of somebody else. But other than that, you're really not looking at other players' player boards, because you're just so focused on what am I going to do? How am I going to do it to make sure I get enough votes here so that the next time I can do this action over here. But wait, I need resources there. So I'm going to have to get resources first. So I have to figure out a way to move my boats so that I can actually get resources there before I do the action I really want to do with those resources. It's so brain burning, this one. This was another one of those that I played, and then months later I was like, oh yeah, that game, I must play it again. And it's funny because then it just popped up on Board Game Bliss, and I'm like, well, that's a sign. That means I just should buy this game. And I did teach this last time at Cartreat, and everybody really liked it as well. But it also has that kind of simplistic, really cool color pattern to the whole game. And it's just really busy on your player board. If you're watching it on YouTube, you can see the player board with all these different boats and buildings and resources, and you just have to manage them. And I found it so thinky, but I really do love this game. And that's my number 3, Ostia.
Nice. I have not played this one.
Mm-hmm.
So my number 3 that I picked for this one is Mind Management, the psychic espionage game. Now, this one is like a hidden movement game, and it's one versus all. So now it's not super brain burny for the person who's just trying to stay away. They're going to have like three things that they're going to want to visit because they can recruit from there. And if they recruit so many, I don't know, whatever they're recruiting, then they would win the game. Or if they're able to go 16 steps without being captured, then they win the game. For everybody else, we're trying to figure out where are they, move to that move to a location where they are and try to capture them. Now, the board is like this busy map of this city or something, and there's stuff everywhere. So there's swimming pools on rooftops, or there's billboards, there's all sorts of different things that you can see all over the city. So you're going to try and figure out where he's been, what he's seen, and it's kind of, and then there's really interesting because that the person who's sneaking away, he's gonna have a mini version of that city, and he's gonna be behind a screen, and he's gonna put like on a dry erase board, like on that one, and he's gonna put a 1, and that's where he start. Then he's gonna be okay, 2, I'm going down this way, and he's going towards the pool so that he can recruit. Then he's gonna go towards another icon so he can, so he kind of going in this path. And in the meantime, we're on the board, the rest of us, and be like, and there's different actions that you can do and try to like capture or try to kind of question and different things. But you have to be at a location to kind of ask about some of these things as well. So all of a sudden it's like, okay, so he's been to a billboard, and you're trying to and then you can kind of start getting confirmations like, well, he's been over here at some point in the last whatever, and then you have these little tokens that are also dry erase, and you can start making clues and leaving these clues for yourself and trying to figure out where did he go. And then you're going to collect clues. It's like, hey, well, he's been this and this. I think he's trying to make it to pools. So where's everybody? Okay, you go to that pool, I'll go to this pool, and see if we can nab him somewhere or whatever. It is like, and then just try to piece out. Luckily, you do have these little clue tokens. You can kind of leave yourself and put that stuff out there, but trying to figure out. And I remember playing this and we're like, hold on, he's on step 10. and we think he started like, no, but if you went like this, and this, and then, but you're trying to piece this out and visualize this in your mind and make sense of it. It's very, very puzzly, but it was really neat. And this is one that, like I haven't got it to the table very much, but it was really cool. And I think there's actually an app. So if you're going to be 2 players, you can play against the app, and the app is going to control the movements.
Cool.
But I have never played it with that. But I think it would kind of make that aspect interesting as well. But it's just one and I think it's like where you got to try to visualize something in your mind and keep track of something, because my memory is so good right away, instantly. That kind of makes it a brain burner for me. But this is my number 3, mind management.
Yeah, this is one that I've been wanting to play for a while. I have a list of the games of yours that I want to play, and this is definitely at the top of it.
Nice.
Looks
Yeah.
Would you say it's similar to Scotland Yard? Like, because it's...
Okay, Scotland Yard is so simplistic in comparison.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah,
like that would
but
be
it's a hidden
advanced
movement game like Scotland Yard. Yeah, definitely.
Okay. Gotcha. Okay. All right. My number 2 is Fields of Arle. Now, this is a 2-player game, 3-player if you have the expansion. The brain burning part of this game is you are building up your farms basically, but there is 15 worker placement actions in one season, and the second season is 16 worker placement actions, and you have 4 workers. So out of those 15, because you'll do one season, one round, the next round you're gonna, so it's summer, winter, summer, winter, summer, winter. But just to choose out of just having that much choice, it already makes you go, okay, well, I gotta look at all 15 of these. Which is the best 4 to do this round? You can go into the other season once per round, but then you're giving up first player to the other player automatically, which is not something you really want to do, because it goes back and forth. Unless somebody does that, then they, give up their next turn player being first player. But there's so many different things you can do, because you can upgrade your own actions, but you don't really want to waste workers doing that, because you want your workers to go to places to acquire resources so that you can build things and make things and grow things and breed. You can get vehicles which will let you ship things over, which give you points. They'll help you upgrade tiles, which is cool. You just flip them over and they're on the upgraded side, but you have to figure out how to do this. Plus, as you're building up your field, you're placing these animals on your field, and they can only go in certain spots. So if you haven't pushed your I think they're called ditches up, then you don't have enough space. So you really have to go somewhere to be able to is it dikes or ditches? I think it's dikes, and then with the expansion it's ditches. But anyway, you're pushing these up so you have more space to put more animals, more buildings, more tiles. You have to, of course, feed and heat your farm, and so you have these peat tiles that you need to flip over, and then you need to go somewhere to gather the peat in order to heat your buildings and things. But there's so many different things you can do here. I mean, this must be where he got Feast for Odin actions from, because I think there's even more there. There's more like 30, I think, different places you could go to for worker placement actions. And for some people, that's too much. They can't, I don't know if their brain can wrap around the fact that, okay, out of these 16, you choose 4. And maybe a couple more because someone may have gone to the spots you want to go to. But there's just so much thinking involved in this. I've wanted to run this at Car Treat, but it takes up so much space, and it's only a 2-player game. So I feel like it's not the greatest thing to run at a convention, but might be a good place to play it, because it's a very long game as well, but it's so good. The solo in this is awesome, because most of Uwe's solo versions are basically just playing the game normally, and kind of just acquiring points. You know, you have to figure out your points. But I do like that when you don't have to run a bot and have a whole like spreadsheet of things you can do, when you can just play the game and just try to do the best you can. I just love that about it. But Fields of Art is awesome. It's definitely my favorite farming game, and that's number 2, Fields of Arle.
I have played this one.
Yes.
Finally, one on your list that I have played. And it was cool. I do remember that. But I don't own this one. So. All right. My number 2 is Pyramid Arcade. Kinda. Pyramid Arcade is a box that has a bunch of different components that can play 22 different abstract strategy games. So depending on the game that you decide you want to play, you would take the components from Pyramid Arcade. Now, it is my understanding that they're stopping producing Pyramid Arcade and they're developing these different games separately so you can purchase just the different games. I have Pyramid Arcade on its way. It's arriving tomorrow or the day after, and I bought it from Pametaway. And I reached out to David. I was like, any chance you can get me this? Because I played this at FallCon, and I played one other version, and I was like, okay, I want this. And actually, I think I ended up playing 2 of the 22 games. So there's 20 other games I haven't played. But the one that I played and I'm putting on my list for brain burner games is Martian chess. So Martian chess kind of has the board and you play with these 9 different pyramids, and you have 3 big ones, then you have 3 medium ones, and you have 3 little ones, and they move in a certain way. So the small ones can go orthogonally and can move 1 space. Then the medium ones can move diagonally, and I think they can move 1 or 2 space. And then the big ones can move any which way, orthogonally or diagonally, and go as far as you want. So plays like chess, no problem. Got it. Gonna play, perfect. Here's where the tricky part is. The moment a piece passes that black line onto the other player's side, it is no longer your piece. It's the other player's piece to control now. And that is messing me up because the goal of the game is to capture, until all of the pieces have been captured. So if you capture a piece, you put it aside. Now the small ones are worth 1 point, the medium ones are worth 2 points, and the big ones are worth 3 points. And then because I play chess, you will play this, or at least I played this, and I'm strategizing and thinking in chess. And I was like, okay, great. I'm going to go there and then I can capture that. Wait, it's no longer mine now. It's there. Then he's going to come and capture me back. Oh my God, how did I forget this again? And it's just it was such a chore, not a chore. It was a lot of fun, but it was so tricky to remember that. Yes, you're kind of strategizing how you're going to use all these pieces, and then you're going to go across and you're going to capture. Oh, wait, it's no longer mine. Now they can come back with it. Like it's interesting. It was so good. And it was but just the fact that you got these pieces and you're manipulating them, but then, oh yeah, on the board, that's no longer mine, ignore. But now you can't protect yourself, but trying to move out of the way or different. It was good. It was so good. And after playing this one, I was like, I want Pyramid Arcade. So I'm so excited that it's arriving. It's going to be here in a couple days and going to be, exploring these 22 different games that I could play with this. But Martian chess was so good. But it's simple. It's a simple game, but just grasping that you manipulate these pieces, and the moment they cross over, you can move. Like if you take the big piece, you can go all the way to the end, capture the piece. Now you've captured this piece, that's on yours. You've gone across the other side, but now it's no longer your piece to control. they're going to control it now until it crosses back on your side. Now it's back to your piece. And that was that I just cannot. Well, it's not that I've. It's hard to wrap your brain around that concept, and it was so good.
Okay,
So
so are
that's
they all the same color, the pieces?
so in Martian chess, yes. In Pyramid Arcade, they're different colors, but it doesn't matter what color they are.
Oh my gosh, that would be tricky.
Yeah, like they can be all like in this case, they're all the same color because it only matters if they're on your side, then they're your piece. But if they're on the other side, they're the other person's piece. It does not matter.
Oh wow, okay. And
Yeah.
so does the big box come with all these little boxes in it of games?
No, so the big box comes with all the different components and more components.
And
So
then
all
rules.
bunch of like these pyramids and all kind of boards that you will combine and play all these different games.
I think I need this game too.
I think you do.
I thought Pyramid Arcade was dexterity games.
Oh yeah, you know what? I don't know if there are some dexterity games
okay.
in those 22 games, but so far what I've played has all been abstract strategy games.
Wow, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this one was so good.
Strategy. Awesome. Okay, interesting. Maybe Kayla was talking to me about this, and we did. She's like, I think you would like that. And I said, yes, I would like to play. But I did think most of them were dexterity. So now I'm really excited. And I must find this game now because I don't want to buy them all
Give
separate.
Pimetaway a call because he was able to order it in for me.
Oh, was he? Oh, okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
All right. Well, my number one literally has mind in the title, and it is called Unconscious Mind. Now, this one, it's kind of funny because I did back this one and I got I don't think I got the top pledge, but I got almost one of the top pledges. And then our friend Ashley, she really wanted this game. And at the time it was arriving, I'm like, I don't know if I really need to own it because I don't know how often I would play it. But anyway, so I sold her my pledge and she had it and she taught us. And I was like, oh, this is quite crunchy, whatever. But then I didn't really think about it for a while. And then again, it was one of those games that popped in my head in the middle of the night, like, oh, you must play this again. So ironically, this game went on sale, just kind of the base version game at Bliss for like a ridiculous cheap price. I'm like, I'm just going to buy it. And so then I bought it and I learned it again. And I think did I teach it? Yeah, I taught it at Car Treat and played it a couple times and just love it. And
nice.
I just bought some like upgraded, the expansion and just some upgraded, what's it called? Just an organizer in the box. And because the components that actually come with the base game are beautiful. Like it's wooden components. It's not, like just cardboard chits. Like there's a lot of wood in there. And the real only high upgrades are kind of like plastic minis, which I'm just not it just doesn't float my boat, the minis. And I prefer the wood anyway. And I think they upgraded the little glass bottles or whatever. But anyway, so what you're doing in this game is you are treating patients. And you are acquiring dreams and different types of dreams, and you're going to basically treat them in the dreams. And how you do that is you have this little wheel of different emotions and things that you're trying to slide these little glass beads up to, like, one is freedom, one is, now I'm forgetting what the other one is. It might even be spiritual or... Oh, I can't remember. There's 3 different types that you're trying to build up. And those are kind of resources that you're using in order to buy the, treat the dreams, but basically like fulfill the recipe on the dreams. And then not just that, you're also moving this little glass vial around your board, depending on what actions you choose on the main player board to do. That will decide how far you move your little bottle. And so as you move your bottle, then you're going to also get to do actions where that bottle is. So you're not just thinking about the worker placement. You're thinking about the worker placement plus how far I'm going to move my vials, how much I need to treat, how many different resources I need to acquire. Coffee is the currency in this game, so that's
Nice.
the like money kind of thing, and you just need to drink all this coffee. Then you have this other player board that you can move Freud around and yourself and gain different bonuses there. There's a lot going on in this game. I find this game to be a very heavy game. Some people might disagree, but it is heavy, I believe, because there's so much going on. You can develop books, and then once you do that, other people can cite you from those books and then take your tiles, but it gives you points, so it's all good there too. But it's very thematic, and it all makes sense when you were doing this. And the art in this game is beautiful. They had 2 or 3 different artists. I know they had Andrew Bosley, I think, and then they had Vincent Dutrait, and they each did different types of dreams. So one was like a lucid dream, and one was like, I don't know, and then they have nightmares as well in there as an expansion. But there's just so much going on in this game, and it's a game where you need to have quiet. You can't be in a noisy place because you really need to think about what you're doing. And it's a lot of, head down, not a lot of chatting going on, because you don't really care what anybody else is doing. You're really just focusing on what your little plan is and what you're trying to accomplish. But it's awesome, this one, and I'm so glad I actually ended up buying it. And that's my number 1, Unconscious Mind.
Yeah, I attended an event in Edmonton, and Kayla and Ashley went to Missions Fun and Game. And I was like, Kate, send me pictures. And they did. And I bought it. It's right over here. And it was on their discount bin for the Dent box.
Oh, nice.
Discounts. I think it was like 20% off or something.
Ooh, sweet.
Because one of the corners is slightly crushed. But at first glance, I was like, no, it's not dented. So yeah, look closer. Like right there. I was like, oh, okay, I guess it is. But I have not played it yet, but it is in my collection.
I'll teach you this one.
Wonderful. Yes, that'd be great. Perfect. So my number 1 is Evacuation. I played this one at a mountain retreat game event that I attended, and I was so impressed with it. It was so interesting, and I ended up buying my own copy. So I do own this one now as well. And what's interesting is we are on Earth, and we're established on Earth, and we have our buildings, and we have our kind of different things in place that creates and generates resources, but Earth is dying, and we have to leave. And we found another planet that we can go and establish on. So what we need to do is we need to start taking our people and our resources and our businesses and machinery and all that stuff and slowly start relocating them to the new world or the new planet. But we can't do it all in one trip. We're going to need to go back and forth and slowly start taking things back and forth. Now, as you take people and resources away from the first planet and you're going to the second planet, that second planet does not have any resources yet. It's not equipped to us collect this. We haven't set up our buildings and all that sort of stuff. So we'll kind of go to the new planet, and then we'll need to dump stuff out and then start setting like our machines so that we can start taking advantage of the resources on this new planet and start assigning our workers to operate that. And then the ship needs to come back. But there's no resources here yet. So when we leave the first planet, we need to also send the resources to be able to make the trip back. We're going to need that fuel back, right? To make the round trip and come back. Now, as we come back to this new old planet, the original planet, we have less resources available here because we started picking away at this, and we're starting to, kind of set up on this new planet. So it's going to start generating resources, but it's not yet. This new old planet is creating less. So now we got to start collecting more people. It's okay, come on, everybody, let's get set up. And then you're going to fill your rocket again. And eventually you're going to acquire more so you can send multiple ships back and forth. And then you're going to send them back. And then it's like, now we're starting to, so there's a little bit of resources. Okay, well, I don't need to send the red cubes over there because I'm making some on the new planet now. And I'm going to, oh, hold on, I'm not making a whole lot of red cubes on the old planet. I might want to send a few. So I'm going to send some on my ship to make it back so that I have some to be able to. And it's such an interesting balance that you need to consider and think about. And as the shift goes from what you're generating from the old planet to what you're generating on the new planet and establishing this new planet and tearing down the old planet, and you're trying to make it that you don't have infrastructure and people left on the old planet by the time it destroys, because there's a countdown element to this as well. And it was so interesting. I thought this was so clever and so interesting. And yeah, I played it and I'm like, okay, I need my own copy. And I did get my own copy. Now, we played it wrong. We did one thing that was played completely wrong. And like, oh, so our score was terrible because we missed this one thing. And that would kind of, I was like, dude, the next play is going to be so different. But that whole things like I'm balancing, okay, well, hold on, I need to send that, and I'm going to need to bring some of this back. Like that whole planning was so interesting. But yeah, oh my God, lots and lots to consider. But it was neat. And that is my number one, Evacuation.
Well, that's awesome. I really want to learn this game. So you teach me this one, I'll teach you Unconscious Mind.
Where you're on.
Yep, sounds good.
Perfect.
Now it's a Vladimir Suchi game, right?
Yeah, this last one, let me go back.
Yeah. I think it is.
Yeah,
and he
Vladimir
does such
Suchi.
different. He has such different games that are completely not related to each other at all, and just mechanic wise and everything. And it's really cool how he develops all these different types of mechanical games.
No, it was good. And this one was super cool. But yeah, so this was our top 9 list of the brain burn. And honestly, I think all of them, it went from like very different games. I was looking at yours, I was like, wow, you picked all big games. And I have like some ridiculously small games, but that still fits this brain burning category. But that was neat. Now, next episode, we were actually just discussing this before, like what should we do? And I have on my tables set up to learn is Boon Lake, and I haven't played it yet. And one of the things that I thought was interesting is it's one of those that as you do an action, you pick which action you want to do, you do the main portion of the action, and then everybody, including yourself, will do the secondary portion of the action. It was like, what is that mechanism called? And I don't know if we came across the proper term, but we came across action drafting. So we said, you know what, let's make that our next episode. So our next one is going to be our top 9 action drafting, whether it has simultaneous or not. We're going to include everything just in case we're having a hard time coming up with 9. But our top 9 action drafting game. And I was really excited for this one. Because there's a few that, and actually that's something I really enjoy. I like that about a game.
Me too.
I think it makes the whole place so interesting. But before we leave for today, Carla, where can we find you?
You can find me on Instagram at boardgamespecialist, all one word. And I have a Facebook page called Red Deer Board Game Fanatics. What about you?
So first of all, make sure you join us on our Discord channel. There's been lots of chatter on there. Actually, as we're videoing this, I'm taking pictures from underneath and I posted that. So there's those pictures of us recording this podcast on there right now. But it's very active. So be sure to join us there and then kind of talk about board games with us there. Yeah. But I'm also on Instagram at Mel's_boardgame_room. I also have my Facebook page called Mel's Board Game Room and my YouTube channel called Mel's Board Game Room. So thanks so much for tuning in, everybody. Bye.
Thanks for listening.
If you wanna stay with me, if you wanna try, maybe